Hello, hello. My name is Nicole Thomas, and today we are going to talk about how to pull a handle, the full length version of this demonstration, starting with rolling out our coil. So let's get right into it. Right here, I have a nice well-wedged piece of clay. I'm going to give a few gentle taps as I rotate this. If you want to do like 2 taps, that's fine. Kind of working this clay out and getting it into a nice little cylinder until it feels natural to kind of start to roll it. So I'm going to give a few gentle rolls on each side. I focus on one side, so you'll see one side is nice and smooth, and then I flip over to the opposite side that has that texture, and I give a little rock and a roll about 180 degrees back and forth on the opposite side. So now something like this seam is something that I want to take note of. I want to make sure that seam smooths out when I roll my coil. If you are using clay that is too dry, or if you're finding that your clay naturally dries out faster on you, you might have something that we call hot hands. It just means that your body tends to drink the moisture out of the clay quicker. So if that's something you're experiencing, if you're experiencing coils cracking on you as you're rolling them, make sure seams like this is something that you keep an eye on, or maybe start with clay that is wetter to begin with so that there's a little bit of moisture willing to be given up so that you can continue rolling out your coil without having cracks in them. So I'm going to continue working with this piece right here, applying a little bit of pressure and bringing it all the way out to the sides, and then rotating the coil on the opposite side and completing the same motion. Now this coil is really nice and even, and I could probably continue working with it, but I want to make sure my coil is perfect. So I go ahead and I slice it in half, and I'm really going to focus on this portion of my coil. I'm pushing down and then bringing my pressure all the way out to the side. I'm kind of making sure that I'm standing and keeping my upper body over the coil so I can just naturally push some of my body weight down into this clay, making it a little bit easier to move this material around. So a few more gentle rolls and I should have a coil that looks just like this. From experience, I would recommend not picking up your coil. Handling it more just gives it an opportunity to become less even and to get little lumps and bumps on it. So keeping it flat while you work on it is the best course of action. So I think that this coil could probably be 3 handles, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it 2. So I'm gonna give a little cut right there. We're gonna put this off to the side and I'm gonna come in with my water bucket. So I'm planning to kind of grip my nails into the tops of this coil right here. The coil is about 1 inch thick. And when I go to pull, I will apply pressure with the inside of my thumb, and I will apply pressure with the outside of my pointer finger. So it's a pinch in motion and a pull down motion, specifically using those 2 spots on my hand to apply pressure to the coil. So let's put all those movements together. I dip the coil in my bucket of water, I dip my hands, and then I go for a pull motion. Now, once you get used to this, you can do 3 good pulls every time you add some water. I like to rotate the coil, so I pulled like this, and then I flip it around, and I pull the same way, but just on the opposite side. This helps for if you naturally tend to pull harder in one space. Rotating the coil, make sure that the sides of the coil receive even pressure and you make a handle that's going to feel really comfortable in the hands. The last thing I do is I take the handle and on the sides, I just want to smooth those sides. I don't want them to be sharp because I'm applying most of my pressure on the top and the bottom. I want to hit those edges and kind of round them out a little bit so it makes a really comfortable handle. I will take that coil, I will pop it into a handle shape, and I will place it down right here on my canvas workspace or my bat, and I let it dry or set up a little bit before I attach it. One of my pro tips is I always pull handles the day before. I store them in my homemade damp box overnight, and then I attach them to freshly trimmed pots the next day. If you stopped by for today's tutorial, thanks so much for being here. If you have a question about how to pull handles, feel free to comment it in the comment box below and I will make sure to comment back with an answer. Thanks so much.